You're commuting to and from work, and you have this feeling in your stomach, this feeling that you can achieve so much more. And the thing is, you can, but you keep telling yourself, I'm gonna do it tomorrow, I'm gonna do it tomorrow. The thing is, tomorrow never comes, and you never actually end up doing it. So in today's video, I'm gonna show you how you can actually set yourself goals and actually take action on them by starting to implement small habits, and most importantly, staying consistent with it. This is based off my experience, but also my clients and my friends in the space. So let's get straight into it. The first thing that a lot of people get held back by is failure. They're scared of it. I was terrified of it when I started out. And the thing is, it's pretty normal. It's human nature to be scared of failure and to avoid failure because it's uncomfortable. But in order to achieve your goals, you need to fail a lot. What helped me is I stopped looking at failure as proof that I wasn't good enough, and I started looking at failure as opportunities to grow and to get closer to my goals. Because as I said, to get to your goals, you need to fail a lot. Think about the most successful people ever, right? The only difference between you and them is that they have failed an immense amount of times, right? So knowing that, we need to fail. What's important to remember about failure is that it's the price you have to pay for success. And when you fail, you're not starting from scratch. You're starting from experience because you've already failed a couple times before. Each time you fail, you are getting better and you are improving and you are more prepared to get past and get through that hurdle. Like I said, failure is the price that you have to pay for success. And the only way to really well and truly fail is to give up. It's to stop showing up for yourself. You should be asking yourself right now, think about it. Imagine this scenario, 20 years down the line. You're thinking to yourself, what if I did this? What if I did that differently? And I saw different results, right? Because the thing is, regret is a lot scarier than failure. Regret is gonna be that thing that, for me personally, it terrifies me. Regret is the thing that I look at and I try to avoid as much as possible. It's my worst nightmare. My worst nightmare is 20 years down the line, I'm in some crappy beat up car and I'm thinking about how much I hate my life and what I could have done differently when I was younger, in my 20s or in my teen years or in my 30s, right? That terrifies me way more than failure because I understand that failure is part of the process and it's the price you have to pay for success. And the sooner you realize that, and the sooner you actually start to feel regret more than failure, the more likely you are to succeed. Now, I want you to start thinking about your future self as well here. Right? Think about your future self. Where do they live? The person that's achieved all these goals, where do they live? Who do they spend time with? What weather is it? Is it a 4-bedroom house? Are you alone? Are you surrounded by all the people you love in your life? Are you successful? Are you confident? What does that future you look like who has achieved all their goals? Really picture it as much as you can. You need to smell it. You need to taste it. Now that you're thinking of that person, stop. That version of you doesn't magically appear one day, right? That person is built with the choices they make, with the actions that they take. Every time you are set with a decision, right? It can be as simple as when you wake up, right? Think to yourself, if I hit snooze, what is that doing to my goals? If I scroll on TikTok, Instagram, firstly, you should delete TikTok. I think it's a disgusting app. But anyway, think to yourself, every decision you're making, it's either going to take you closer to your goals or further away from them. It's up to you to make the right decisions. You can make the decisions to help you get to your goals, like getting in shape, learning high-value skills, actually taking action on the things that matter and move the needle, rather than watching YouTube videos that don't matter, watching Netflix, right? And that's not to say that you can't do that stuff, but you have to put the main focus on the actions that are going to help you to your goals, right? When I was at a uni house a few years ago, before I was in a skyrise in London, my whole surrounding, my environment, it was people who spent so much time on YouTube and Netflix every single day. And I had this realization one day that I could either keep doing that and just stay where I am and regress as well, or I could get my ass off the couch, go to my room, start learning high-value skills, start implementing them. That's how I got into this industry. I started in a uni house filled with people who smoked weed all the time, partied all the time, filled with distractions. And it wasn't until I had that realization that every action actually has more than one consequence. They have a lot of consequences. I started thinking more long term, right? That's how you have to look at the decisions you make. They actually have long-term impact. So start asking yourself, when you have a decision, what would the person that has achieved my goals do? Would they watch YouTube and Netflix for hours on end? Would they scroll on TikTok? Or would they get in the gym, get their mind right, get their body right, learn the skills, implement on these skills? Sounds like I'm repeating myself because I kind of am, right? You really need to get it in your head. I wish I could be on the other side of this screen listening to this when I was 5 years younger than I am now. Because it would have been the kick up the ass that I needed to start achieving my goals, right? Because even now you have a decision. A lot of people are probably not watching up until this point. You can choose to keep watching and actually implement what I'm telling you, or you can choose to ignore it. It's up to you. Now, speaking of decisions, I want to talk about procrastination for a second. Because procrastination is the thing that's going to destroy all your dreams. What helped me start to be, not a procrastinator was accountability. I held myself accountable to higher standards and habits, but on top of that, I surrounded myself with people who also held themselves to high standards because they held me accountable. They'd call out me on my bullshit if I was not being the person that I needed to be to achieve my goals. Because, surprise, surprise, doing this all on your own, very hard, very tough. And I think, really, if you look into it, try and find someone who's seen any form of success do it on their own. I can happily admit I haven't done it on my own. Every high-level person you see online hasn't done it on their own. They've surrounded themselves with people to hold them accountable. Because it's not always easy to hold yourself accountable. I know that. And that's exactly why I invest into mentoring, invest into coaching, personally, still to this day. Because I need to be called out on my bullshit still now. Because no one's coming to save you, right? No one is. It's only you. You versus you. Remember that. You can choose to save yourself, to take action in the right direction every single day. Or you can choose to just let it all go. Let it pass you. Live a life of average. That should terrify you. Because I'm pretty sure you know deep down, if you live and choose that path of average, you at 60 years old is going to look at their life back with a bunch of regret. And that should terrify you. Now, as you can probably tell, I'm not sugarcoating it, right? Success takes hard work. Success requires sacrifice. I told you I started in this online sales world. I started doing dropshipping and stuff when I was much younger. Saw a bit of success, but never really, because I had so many bad habits and I procrastinated and I didn't surround myself with the right people. But when I started this, I was in a uni house. The amount of distractions I had and opportunities to do what seemed fun in the moment was crazy. I had everything around me, everything. But I made sacrifices. I said no to nights out. I said no to vices that seemed fun in the moment. Because what I said earlier, I started to think more long term, and that my actions have more than just one consequence. They have an order of consequence. There's first, second, third, fourth, fifth order consequence of every action and decision that you make. And every decision that I took was in line with my long-term goals. And that felt amazing. It was like I had a piggy bank, and every time I did that, it felt like I was depositing a coin. And that piggy bank represented my future self. Every time I made a sacrifice, right? It started at first, it felt like a sacrifice. But then you start seeing results after months, because it does take time. You have to let time do its thing. It's not going to happen overnight. Every time, deposited a coin. It was a bit hard at first, but then, god damn, I was like, every chance I got, I threw coins in there. Because I realized after seeing the results, what I was capable of by making the right decisions and by making sacrifices at first. But then over time, I built habits around it. And I found it more fun to work on my goals than I did to do vices and go on a night out. And so what really puts this all together was a routine that I had for myself, right? I used to do it without even realizing, really. The routine I had. I'd wake up, I'd go straight to the gym, I'd come back, I'd have my breakfast, I'd have made my bed already, I'd read, and then I'd get straight into work. That was my routine when I started, and it still is to this day. Today, this day and age, First thing I do is I hydrate. I do 50 push-ups, or I go to the sauna, depending on how I'm feeling. But I do something to get the blood pumping. Then I read, then I make my bed. It's not always in that order, but it's along those lines. And that gets me starting the day right. I'm stacking wins before I'm doing anything already. It feels great, okay? And I urge you to do the same thing, because a routine is gonna help you stay consistent. It's gonna help you build the right habits over time. All a routine is doing, it's gonna help you build discipline. Because motivation isn't good enough. Motivation comes and it goes, and I'm sure you've heard that already. But discipline, that changes everything, okay? And it takes time to build that, it takes time. And so using the routine that I have is amazing. I write down my goals every night. I remind myself of my morning routine every night. And I also write down my to-do list. It's usually 3 to 5 things every single day that I'm gonna do the next day. And when I wake up, it's literally there, everything I wrote. My goals, my routine, my to-do list. So I haven't forgotten. I'm reminded constantly of my goals for the next 3 to 12 months. I know exactly what I need to do for my morning routine. And I know what I need to get done for the day. Because in this world that we live in, there's a million bajillion distractions. You can pick up your phone and you're gone. There's a million things happening. You're getting texts, you're seeing notifications, everything. The best thing you can do is not touch your phone for like the first couple hours of your morning. You'll see how much shit you can get done and you'll feel amazing. Because you'll go to bed that night with a fat smile on your face because you have done everything that you set out to do that day. And that is an amazing feeling. Now, I'm not saying you have to copy my routine word for word, bar for bar, but create a routine for yourself, right? Start implementing it. Start waking up earlier, implement a routine, stick to it, because you're gonna start building habits and you're gonna start seeing the fruits of your labor. The bottom line of this video is success isn't about luck. Success is built over time with the right habits that you stay consistent with, okay? So, feel free to watch this video back, take notes maybe this time if you haven't already, implement what I've said. Feel free to message me on Instagram as well. If you have questions, if you have anything that is on your mind towards hitting your goals, feel free to message me, right? I'll do my best to answer you in my DMs personally. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, jump and build on the way down.